To our annual Christmas concert here at Greenville High School. We are glad you made the decision to spend your evening with us celebrating the holiday season through music. These students worked really hard on this program, and I know you're going to love what you see, love what you hear. First up on our program is our holiday big band, emphasis on big. And we have two pieces we're going to perform for you tonight. The first is I'll Be Home for Christmas, and then Go Tell It on the Mountain. I don't know if anybody likes that last one, but we'll go through it. Wink, wink. We're going to feature many soloists tonight, so I'll have them stand or raise their hand afterwards. And it is jazz, so if this is your first time hearing a jazz band after a solo, it's not like orchestra or concert band. You don't have to be quiet and appreciate them at the end. You can hoot and holler and clap after a solo to show them that they did a fantastic job. So without further ado, and I'm not going to talk much tonight because it's about the kids, so here is the holiday big band. before our last piece, we had several of our students audition for GMEA District Jazz this year, and we had 3 that made it into the District Jazz Band out of all the high schoolers in the surrounding. I think our district is 15 counties in GMEA, so out of all those high schools. And then we also had 2 of those go on to make All-State, which goes against all the high schools, all the jazz programs in the entire state of Georgia. So the students in the district band, if you would stand, raise your hand if you're already standing. Carson Pierce. Shannon Maxler. And Joe Kyle Constant. And Carson and Shanna will be representing Ringgold High School in January at the GMEA conference in the All-State Jazz Band. So please give these students a huge round. before we started is that we did all that in about 2.5 rehearsals. So we had a lot of heartburn and stress, but they did a fantastic job. We are going to do a quick set change to get ready for our symphonic band. I'll tell you guys when we come up. So if you bear with us for just a minute or two, we'll be ready to go for the final part. Thank you.
Ringgold High School Symphonic Band Christmas Concert. We are so excited that you have chosen to spend your evening with us and celebrate the season through music. Please use this opportunity to silence all cell phones and your electronic devices. Please refrain from using flash photography so that we can perform our very best with no distractions. My name is Cameron Davis, a senior saxophone player and the head drum major. I am pleased to welcome you all here tonight to open the concert portion of our program. Our next piece is entitled Winterscape by composer Gavin Lent. Winterscape is the composer's attempt to capture the magic of a wintry journey, painting scenes of crisp, snow-covered landscapes and horse-drawn sleighs gliding over icy trails, accompanied by the invigorating chill of the winter air. The piece begins with an introduction that sets the mood, pulsating with a lively and spirited tempo that mirrors the brisk pace of a sleigh ride, bumps and all. Throughout Winterscape, fragments of familiar carols associated with Advent and Christmas weave seamlessly in and out. The unpredictability of sleigh rides and snowball fights comes to life with a dynamic contrast, abrupt tempo changes and contrasting moods, reflecting on the ever-changing scenery. This piece will feature soloist Skylar Norwood on trumpet. We hope that you enjoy our performance of Winterscape by Gavin Lent, and please join me in welcoming to the stage the Ringgold High School Symphonic Band and our director, Mr. Caleb McDonald.
ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alex Donnelly, a senior clarinet player in the band. Our second piece tonight is entitled Waltz No. 2 by Dmitri Shostakovich, arranged by James Cartmount. Waltz No. 2 brings the iconic, bittersweet dance from the Suite for Variety Stage Orchestra to concert bands, adapting its light, yet subtly dark, classical style for younger players, featuring characteristic in-pop-pop rhythms with melodic lines that evoke its original jazz-infused orchestral feel, often highlighting saxophones and tuned percussion for its distinctive, alluring drama. This piece will feature soloists Sam Yang on alto saxophone and Shannon Metzler on trombone. We hope you enjoy Waltz No. 2 by Dmitri Shostakovich.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hayden Adderall, the senior horn player here in the band. Our next piece is composed by Carol Brickman Chambers, entitled "All That We Are." It was commissioned by the Couple High School Music for their performance at the 2023 Midwest Clinic in memory of Mr. Scott Mason. According to his friends, Mr. Mason was a uniquely gifted man and believed so deeply in the power of music. His dedication to teaching and empowering children was a lifelong endeavor. Mr. Mason loved classical music. However, his heart and soul were truly moved by church music. He understood that music is not only the universal language, but music allows us to transcend the mundane. He felt music was a pathway to achieving our dreams. All That We Are is mostly inspired by the famous hymn, "Great is Thy Faithfulness," the scoring that complements his favorite orchestral work, Elsa's "Procession to the Cathedral." This piece features solos Ileana Dawson on flute, Chloe Schroeder on clarinet, Charlotte Schorl on trombone. We hope that you enjoy this powerful, emotional work, All That We Are.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sophie Jameson, a senior clarinet player in the band. Our next piece, Voyage of the Northern Lights, was composed in 2022 by Isabella Carita Murillo. This piece was awarded in the 2022 National Band Association Band Composition Contest Award for Best Piece of New Music. The musical narrative comes from an old folk tale told in Scandinavia. The tale explains that the beautiful, awe-inspiring northern lights are actually carrying fallen soldiers and Vikings up to heaven. Other versions of this folklore explain that the lights were their final exhales and farewells before entering the afterlife. The first section represents a burial hymn to those that have passed, as family members say their last goodbyes with somber hearts. The piece quickly progresses into a flurry and colorful dance of the northern lights as they appear to sweep away the fallen into a new life. There is a mixing of themes as the fallen understands that they too must let go of their loved ones still on earth. Musical motion continues throughout as a signal of the ever-shifting shapes and contours of the northern lights. The composer at one point shifts into a waltz that carries over themes from the hymn as a picture of the fallen reuniting with those they love in heaven. The piece ends with a restatement of the beginning theme as a new day begins to override the void of the lights, and those remaining on earth must continue to live life, carrying the memory of the night of the northern lights. Voyage of the Northern Lights is an exciting piece that acts as a tribute to the beauty of nature, the composer's heritage, and to the continued dedication of music teachers and students that make pieces like this possible. We hope you enjoy this next piece of music.
young senior horn player in the band. Silent Night in Gotham by Julie Giroux is a fresh new take on a timeless melody. Instead of basing the piece in a major key, the composer felt it would be more haunting and beautiful in a minor key. This arrangement, the composer states her goal is to take the classic melodies and harmonies and gently push them over the edge. We hope that you enjoy this fresh new take on the classic Silent Night in Gotham by Julie Giroux.
we announce our final piece, I believe we have a very special guest tonight. He hails all the way from the North Pole. And Ms. McDonald has given me the absolute honor to introduce the one, the only, Santa Claus.
Better not be in Alabama or Georgia. Sorry. Oh, this is exactly what I want. This right here.
And I think the size is a perfect fit.
I think it's pretty good. I always ask my family for this. And
Drew came through for you.
And Santa Claus came through for me.
Oh,
It is the best thing in the world. A big lump of coal.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Braxton Tupper, senior trombone player in the band. Our final piece for our concert is perhaps the most popular holiday piece of music, Sleigh Ride by Leroy Anderson. When you think of this piece, you most likely have images of snow, horse-drawn carriages, childhood, joy, and other emotions connected to this holiday season. Ironically, Leroy Anderson composed this piece while in the total opposite of those thoughts. In the middle of July, during a massive heat wave, he began composing this piece in 1946 and completed the work in 1948. Originally premiered by the Boston Pops Orchestra, the lyrics were composed by Michelle Parrish in 1950 to fulfill the piece that we all love. We hope you enjoy our final piece, Sleigh Ride by Leroy Anderson.
our band family to your family, we wish you a very, very Merry Christmas and a very happy holiday season and a bright and shining New Year. Thank you all for coming out. Please be safe going home. Thank you for all you do.